would say, besides the orientations, which of course are quite pleasant and which others have talked about, I would say that the one-on-one mentorings and the discussions that involved everyone that we had were the best part that I most enjoyed. I distinctly like any kind of good conversation, and those were plentiful in this program.
Nice.
Not only are you getting to know others and other viewpoints, which add perspective to your own, you're also, through that, discovering to a greater depth how your own worldview's feet stand on the world and how steadily or unsteadily they do so. Well, I decided to do the program because I wanted something to do with this gap year. I decided to take very consciously for that space that was about having space and about taking that space to consider things and do so in an active way rather than passively. And so actively thinking about why you would rather take a moment and review things rather than simply going on to whatever's next is a very good thing to do if you have plans but don't feel quite ready to just plunge into them. I would say that in the culminative environment, so to speak, of all of the discussions that we did about, say, virtues or enemies of learning, as James pointed out, or other similar things, all of that added weight to what the guest speakers had to say when they came. I thought that that worked quite well because whenever they came and just talked about their lives and one side of the human experience in the world, that made what they said all the more understandable in a certain sense. So I wouldn't say any one particular teaching, but having a good soil of previous teachings and previous experiences in the program leading up to guest speakers talking about what they've experienced. I think that that worked very well.
Okay.
I'd say that in the future, when I try to think of times when I had a better sense of my place in a conversation or conversations in general, or something of that sort, I'll think back to this time, and then I'll think back to all of the projecting and reflecting I did at home in connection to that, which was a very rich, growing, learning experience just of how I work. Through simply being there and being a reminder of how I can be myself when I want to be.
Nice.
I was making the realization very gradually that if all I'm doing projects-wise and endeavors-wise end up being for something else that I plan to do in the future, then I'm never fully living in the present of what I'm actually doing. Whereas on the other hand, if I'm doing projects, if I'm doing things with my life that have to do with immediate worldly feedback, then I'm much more in the present. And being in the present is generally a good thing, I found. Do it if you're interested. If you have a steady degree of interest in taking time to think about things very consciously, because a lot of the time I get the sense that this program is whatever you give it, whatever you put into it. And so if you think you can put a good deal of attention and care into thinking about what life is and how you decide to live it, then it's probably a good thing for you.